everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, we're going to be talking about...
Frank has forgotten what we're going to be talking about, but I haven't. We're talking about social media. We're talking about the right wing. We're talking about Christian right-wing nut jobs, and the fact that they think that they're trying to carve out a whole new world,
a safe place
to
be crazy,
a literal parallel universe.
Oh boy.
But
sadly stuck in our universe.
Right. Yeah.
If only it could just go and be its own.
Right. We'd let you
thing.
go. You
go
guys.
Be crazy. Go live in your crazy world with
go
space
enjoy.
lasers starting fires.
Can we find them an island? Can we just find them one?
Oh, gladly.
They would
We
go.
have to have a surplus island somewhere.
There's got to be. And look, let's just give it a lot of good infrastructure. And it just will make it look very enticing. I'll bet China has.
They would build an island.
They'll build it. They'll build it.
Maybe they would, do us a favor.
Oh my God.
I doubt it. Anyway, Dan.
They would never go to some place that didn't have an enormously overinflated military, so we can't do it. It won't work.
Dan.
Yes.
Oh, Dan. Oh, the story.
What? What could be so distressing,
you need
Frank?
to brace yourself, Dan.
Oh, God.
There are Mormons in this world with hurt feelings.
Oh, no.
And
no.
Their
Say it
feelings
isn't
are
so.
hurt.
No. It cannot be.
I mean, it's really all Mormons, but specifically we're talking about Brigham Young University student Mormons.
Ooh.
That's the church, the LDS church owned university down in Provo, Utah.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say LDS church, I should say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because
No,
that's what they want to be called.
You should say the fucking Mormons and let them deal with
The
it.
Mormon Church owns BYU.
Yeah.
So they, I guess they were playing Baylor.
Yeah.
Down in Texas.
Yes.
Down
in a football
Waco,
game.
Texas. So was it football?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. It's not really central to the story. What is central is the leading up to. Oh, it's homecoming. Of course it's. Yeah. Okay. Right. Isn't that football?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I think traditionally, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
This was Baylor's
these
homecoming
are some
football
real sports bona fides going on here. Right.
game. Right. Between the two of us.
We really know what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, like, I can provide the background that, like, BYU beat the Utes in their first game, the University of Utah Utes, which was a devastating loss for us.
Oh yeah.
And BYU was then ranked.
Oh yeah.
In the top 25.
Well, now they're Big 12.
They joined is it the Big 12? Yeah, I think
Wasn't
so.
it like the Big 10 and now they took a couple?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that it was a big deal for them.
It's been a big year
because
for
they've been
them.
wanting to join one of these things.
And leading up to this Baylor
Especially-
game,
Yeah.
things were looking good for the BYU.
So yeah, they're heading to Baylor down in Waco, Texas. I think I
Yes.
said that already.
Yeah.
And
Another Christian school, but not.
is Baylor Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. All right.
You're welcome for that. I'm the color commentary here.
Then I think what the students were up to was fair game,
Okay.
which is they were mocking the students' Mormonism. They got onto the social media before in the days leading up to the game using the hashtag bike back to Utah. Hashtag bike back to Utah. It's a reference to Mormon missionaries.
Okay, sure.
Get back on your bikes and go to Utah. I think that one's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Right? Let's see. Another one of the photos, there was a photo of 3 girls. The caption reads, "Hey, at BYU football, I have multiple wives too." It's funny
Okay.
because it's making fun of polygamy.
Right.
Right.
Which, by the way, the last time Mormons were arrested for polygamy, it was in Texas, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's actually true. There was another one, group of young men in front of the student section at the Baylor game, and their chests were painted with the words 7 wives.
Oh, okay.
They're going hard on this one, right? And
that doesn't even apply to us anymore.
And that's quotes in here are like, we haven't done that for like 100 years.
Which is true. It does feel like an antiquated burn. It's not, to be honest,
it's not a current burn.
It's not a current burn.
If they wanted to be current, maybe they could find something else.
Call us, guys. Come on.
We'll help you.
It's not like Baylor students are listening to our show, though.
There was another photo that referenced the Branch Davidian siege and David Koresh, the cult leader.
Well, now
it shows
this was Baylor people?
It shows a sheet hung outside the residence painted with the words, BYU wishes they had as many wives as David Koresh.
Oh my God.
Like they were going after it.
Except that feels like an own goal. That feels like they scored on themselves at that point. Like that feels like a self-burn.
Yeah, but as like an out-of-town student, you don't own Waco. You own Baylor, right? And so they're like, they don't care that they're burning the locals.
Oh my God.
So the locals were pissed about that one too. And so like the Baylor students were not being very nice, or at least there was a group of them that weren't being very nice.
Yeah. Well, and that is overly rowdy. That is not, I actually think that that's bullshit. I do not approve of this.
I think...
And frankly, I think their Christianity is called into question.
Oh, okay. We decided we're not going to tell people how they can Christian.
I know.
This is them Christianing.
That's right.
You know,
there's no true Scotsman here.
They have learned the lessons of Christian. This is what Christianity has taught them to do.
That's right. It's
how to be hospitable hosts.
Right.
Welcoming a new member of their Big 12 whatever thing.
Right. Yeah.
Into the fold. And this is how they welcome them. And apparently people were outraged. The school was outraged.
Yeah.
BYU was outraged. BYU was actually kind of quiet on it, officially quiet. Baylor did the heavy lifting on social media denouncing it.
They should be horrified by that behavior.
Oh, Mormons should be ridiculed.
Okay, but no, I don't think anyone should be ridiculed per se. I mean, Mormons, look, first of all, if you're going to ridicule anybody, you got to get it right. None of this 100-year-old.
That's probably why they thought it was free, like fair game, right? In a way, like it's not current. It's a historical reference, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get all super bent out of shape and sensitive about something that's not even accurate. That's not even you. That's not like go after Joseph Smith. Go after, get a picture of Rusty Nelson and say he looks like, Mr. Burns.
I think if you want to burn
Mr. Burns, go home.
Okay. For others, if BYU is playing against the school that you root for and you're going to that game, I am going to suggest a few good burns for you. Don't do any of this polygamy crap because you're missing the mark entirely. Here's what you go for. Go for maybe a little coffee would wake your players up. Go for
they'd be so mad.
Go for that's a solid burn. It's a solid burn. I don't care if Frank's not laughing.
Your Diet Coke isn't working.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go for that kind of stuff. Go for your magic underwear can't protect you from our defense.
Oh my God. You think that they would lose their goddamn minds?
They would fucking die.
They're just going to be sensitive about any kind of burn. And the thing is, like, it's probably, those kind of things are probably a little bit off limits.
Yeah, it's not great.
But
although what you're doing is you're doing them a favor because there's nothing a Mormon or any Christian really in the United States loves more than their persecution complex, and you're just feeding that. You're doing them a big favor on that. Well, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Baptists now. The Southern Baptists of the United States of America, to be specific.
Never
because
good.
The Southern Baptists it is the largest Protestant denomination in the country.
I believe that's true.
And they've been having some trouble. Now, the Southern Baptist Convention has a group called the Executive Committee. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's very important. It has the word executive right in it. And the president of the executive committee, not the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, but the president of the executive committee, Ronnie Floyd, has resigned.
Oh no! Why?
Only a couple years after taking the helm. It is basically due to the fact that the Southern Baptists have been really struggling with how to handle sexual abuse issues. I don't know if our listeners know this, but there are problems with clergy and sexual abuse pretty much all the way around. If there are clergy, it doesn't matter what the religion is, there's a sexual abuse problem. But it's because you've got a power imbalance, and you've got a whole bunch of weird stuff. You've got undue trust placed in these people, and they're almost always men, and that's a problem too. Anyway, so the Southern Baptist Convention has been trying to grapple with how to handle the whole thing, and one of the things that
I love that they make it so hard.
I know. This is fucking easy, you guys. It's really fucking easy. But the problem is that what happens is that if you say, okay, we're going to do the right things, we're going to take the correct steps, which, as you say, are easy. It's easy to point out what the steps are.
Yeah. Actually, taking them might be hard when you find out something horrible about someone that you have respected and cared about,
right,
and whatnot. That might be a hard thing to do.
Right. And also,
but guess what?
And also,
it's the right thing to do.
Bad news, it's going to cost you a fucking fortune.
Yeah.
It is, because you have been hiding stuff, and it's going to come to light, and then you have to pay them. There are victims that you owe a lot of money to. And you're going to have to hire lawyers, and you're going to have to hire a lot of stuff. So they don't want to be they do a lot of talk about wanting to do the right thing, but their right thing and the right thing are not the same thing. So what the recommendation has come down is that they open up basically all of the everythings to a group of outside auditors who would come in and look at all the things and just make recommendations and blah, blah, blah. Well, this involved waiving of attorney-client privilege for the executive committee and a bunch of other people, and would very likely lead to some major lawsuits, which Ronnie Floyd and some of his cohorts were not open to. So there was outcry, and he quit. Now, this comes after a long line of recent problematic leavings, including former Southern Baptist Convention President Paige Patterson, who was fired for mishandling the whole sexual assault at a seminary that he led. Frank Page, who was the former president of the executive committee. This was the same thing that the other guy just left for, who resigned after a, quote, personal failing.
Oh boy. What could that be?
Oh, he was just boning somebody he shouldn't have been. That one's easy. David Platt, former president of the SBC's International Mission Board, who basically, he lost nearly 1,000 missionaries due to budget cuts, and just things weren't going well. Things are not going well for this whole religion. They're losing a lot of people. They are not gaining new people. They are trying to focus more on missionary work because
they need more members.
That's very obviously the case.
Well, the kind of missionary work they do is typically more humanitarian, though, right? Like when most Christians go on missionary trips, they'd love to convert some people, but they're building schools or digging ditches or building. No. Okay, wait. That's what AmeriCorps does. They build churches. Let's face it.
They build churches and they give away Bibles, and that's about it. And maybe you can get a sandwich if you take a Bible, if you're lucky. You guys can correct us if you want. Did you go on a Baptist mission trip? It's not like a Mormon. You're not there for 2 years or whatever. Anyway. Oh, and one of the other guys who recently left was the former president of their Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission,
Fucked.
which is Russell Moore, who actually was kind of. I think we talked about this. He was kind of kicked. I mean, he resigned, but I'm sure he was kicked out because he was a critic of Donald Trump and actually wanted to talk about the whole sexual abuse thing because he was focused on ethics.
And they didn't like that.
They didn't like that.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Oh, golly. All right, Dan.
Yeah.
What do you know about Bangladesh, the country?
Everything.
Well, really?
No,
Well, tell me. What do you know?
I know it's near India.
That's true. It's sort of nestled in up there, sort of kind of in the far east corner.
Yeah.
On the coast.
Yeah.
Though. It's on the Indian Ocean.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that about it.
That's about
I know they have. I don't know much. What?
Are the Tamil tigers there?
That's
Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it. Tamil tiger rebels. Whatever. Yeah, I know. Okay. So
Bangladesh.
They sort of have the father of the nation, who back in 1972 helped establish their constitution.
Okay.
And it was a secular constitution.
Okay.
Right?
Sure. Good.
They at the sort of the sort of modern founding of this nation, they wanted it to be secular, even though it is majority Muslim.
Sure.
By a lot.
Okay.
Right. But there is a Hindu population there, minority, that they wanted to coexist with in peace, apparently. That's what you do when you're setting up a secular government.
Yes.
You want to coexist with everyone.
And it works every time. There's never been a case where they've set up a secular government and it hasn't worked perfectly.
Yeah. Well, over the series of over the decades, I guess, there were two main amendments that happened to the Constitution during some military regimes.
Ruh-roh.
And they sort of instituted Islam as the state religion.
Sure, like
right?
you do.
Okay, yeah. You're in power, you're in the military, of course. Islam, right?
Yeah.
And so fast forward to today.
Yeah.
And there are radical extremist Muslim groups.
Sure.
And they sort of cause problems. Well, people have been stirring up problems. I guess some violence started this last week after there was some kind of, the sources are a little murky about where this stuff came from, of course.
Yeah.
In
certain parts of the world, murky sources are as good as we get for a lot of it.
Well, it was on social media, and somebody was posted a picture showing the Quran at the feet of a Hindu god.
Oh.
And I guess all hell broke loose.
Yeah. Muslims aren't big on feet.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like
no, that's true. Actually,
that's
you're right. So I didn't even pick up on that. So it was like this extra special.
Yeah, it was
more of an insult.
It was a really good slap in the face.
Anyway, these extremist groups caused problems. 5 Hindus died, and a bunch of temples and other religious things were vandalized over the last few days. Some Muslim rioters were also killed by the police when they tried to attack some temples. And so the president, or maybe prime minister, Sheikh Hasina, she has called on the government to go back to secularism.
Oh.
And she is being heralded as for her bravery, right? She's Muslim.
That does sound brave.
The Muslim majority in parliament is set to do it. They're going to, take away the official designation of their own religion.
Interesting.
For the sake of the peace and kind of the greater good, and in large part for their Hindu neighbors.
Interesting.
This story just like caught me. It's like, I'm like, wow.
One
this is insane.
wonders if the wildly Hindu nationalist government of the largest economy anywhere near them was exerting any pressure.
I don't know anything about that internally, though. She's apparently been something of she's known sort of for taking difficult stances. Apparently.
Interesting. I'm shocked that you keep using the she word. I'm shocked that they have a female.
Yeah, and her first name is Chic, which totally threw me. Right? I was like, oh, that's some title, right?
You're right. Okay.
And then later in the article, it started talking about saying her, she did this and she did. I'm like, what she?
Yeah. Which
What
she are you referring
talking
to?
about here, right? So I had to go back and figure. I had to actually look her up.
Well, I'm impressed that an officially Muslim country had a female prime minister
and is willing to now go secular.
Yeah.
Officially.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's great.
I'm
We'll see how it goes.
I'm a little baffled. Yeah, we're gonna have to follow this.
We'll see how that goes down.
Yeah.
That is crazy. All right. I'm going to take us to one of the most oppressive regimes in the world.
Oh.
Texas will soon be, so it's almost November. It's almost time for the vote.
Oh, yeah.
And Texas, one of the things Texas will be voting on is Proposition 3, which is to add a clause to the Texas Constitution.
Oh.
This clause would essentially make it illegal for local and state governments to impose any limits ever on religious services.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anything
in their constitution?
in the Constitution.
Oh, Texas.
This includes, no public health orders can shut down anything. Yeah. So this is obviously a response to the fact that some crazy liberals were trying to shut down church just because of a global pandemic that was killing millions of people.
Yeah, no big deal. Right.
It's probably fake anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
I wish it was.
oh, wouldn't that be great? So yeah, that's happening. Prop 3 does have its critics, including religious critics. Mm-hmm. There are religious people who are saying that this goes way too far and that, guess what? We've got plenty of protections in place, not least of which being the Constitution of the United States of America. But, there are also protections in place in the state law. But it's not enough. It needs to be enshrined in the state's constitution.
Everybody loves a constitutional amendment.
That
goes too far.
Okay. Lucian Greaves, Satanic Temple, have some fun with this. If this shit goes through, fucking start practicing. You know what I mean? Like, put it in your bylaws that one of your like official meetings every month has to be done in traffic. If they can't put any restrictions on you, get creative.
Okay, read it again.
I don't know. I haven't read the wording of the actual thing.
But what are they saying?
It's basically that state and local governments cannot impose any limits on religious services. Now, I don't know how far you can take that. A legal scholar would have to read the actual text of the thing.
Right.
But I think that probably they're not foreseeing the consequences of this.
I say
thing.
volume, right?
Just
all like
blare it out.
Yeah.
Just
your services are at midnight.
Yeah.
Every night.
And they're mobile.
And they're mobile. Just get a city to want to like pass a law.
Yeah.
Or shut you down for nuisances.
Right.
And it's like, no, there's
and then
no
sue
restriction.
The state.
Yeah.
Sue the state and make money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just free money for you, Satanic Temple. Get out there. Enjoy yourselves.
It doesn't have to be anything too complicated, right? Like just totally disturb the peace.
Yeah. And then keep fucking doing it.
Yeah. Every single night.
Have
religion
fun with it.
Meets every night.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, and it can be a membership of 2. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You officially file, you have a set of beliefs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pastafarians? Maybe the Spaghetti Monster might want you to like be naked in the park sometimes.
No, it's got to be somebody to do this like deep cover, right? Because judges see through the Pastafarian thing, right?
I'm just saying,
And-
yeah, but they can't.
No, I know they shouldn't, but they do.
I'm just saying,
Right.
try it. Get out there and get creative,
It's like
everybody.
the colander. Like there are jurisdictions that didn't go along with the colander on
I
the
know.
head for your ID, right?
I'm just saying, Texas has created, if this thing passes, Texas has created more problems for itself if someone's willing to get creative.
Does it go to the people for a vote?
Yeah.
Huh, that'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. And I actually haven't seen any polling on it, so I don't know if it's likely to succeed or not. But there it is. They're pretty excited about it.
Well, I have another Islam story.
Ooh.
Of sorts.
Fun.
Over there in Saudi Arabia, we've been paying attention to Saudi Arabia and their attempts to liberalize their country.
They're getting wacky over there.
Open up and, do crazy sort of things you can do in the West.
This isn't your grandpa's Saudi.
Oh, no. No. Because up until this time, and actually it's still pretty much the rule, there are segregated beaches in Saudi Arabia.
Meaning male, female?
Men
Okay.
and women.
Sure.
Yeah, that kind of segregated beach.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways we could segregate people.
Yeah, you're right. Men and women, different beaches.
Yeah.
Women, I don't think even on their beaches with just other lady folk, they could like disrobe too much.
No.
Right?
No, they're still in the burkinis.
Exactly. And, they're calling it the King Abdullah Economic City.
Is this is their Dubai plan?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in an area outside of Jeddah, and anyway, there's something that they call Pure Beach,
Oh.
and for only $80 a person,
Oh.
you can enter Pure Beach, where there's music, which public music was not allowed up until recently.
Oh, wow.
But they have music.
Oh, my.
There's dancing. I guarantee you that's not allowed anywhere. They have an inflatable water park that spells out Saudi Arabia in English from above.
Oh, my.
And it is some women wear bikinis.
Wow.
They can smoke shisha. I don't know if you probably can smoke that everywhere, but
Is that hashish?
it's shisha. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And there were performers dancing to Western music on a lit stage. That happens when the sun sets. And it is just like people kind of are like, woo.
Yeah, that's getting spicy.
Is crazy. Apparently, I think it said something about it's still like, this is what's nuts about some of these things, is that if you're from Saudi Arabia, you can't go.
Right. Of course not.
This is for tourists.
Yeah.
They're trying desperately to appeal to more than just business travelers and pilgrims coming to visit Mecca. They are trying to develop into a tourism destination.
So if you're a Saudi national, get yourself a drone and do some flybys.
Check it out.
Pure Beach.
Scantily clad people just
Singing
strolling about
and dancing and
frolicking in the
Going down
beautiful
English lettered water slides.
I know, it's so ridiculous. It seems like, to be honest, the Arabic alphabet would make better slides.
Yeah.
Like if you
Sure.
it just like
Absolutely.
out there. But anyway, for the sake of privacy, mobile phones are confiscated and kept in plastic bags when you arrive.
Okay.
And this is an interesting one. The article is like, staff at the beach said they did not know whether the couples were married or not. Because it was only 2 years ago that unmarried foreign couples were first allowed to share hotel rooms.
Right.
This place,
I mean,
I feel like Utah is downright Sodom and Gomorrah.
liberal. It's a liberal Mecca compared to the actual Mecca.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Can you
Well,
believe
there you
that,
go.
I think this attempt to they're going to succeed, right? People will go to their there's city that's more liberal and
Yeah.
whatnot. If they have the right attractions and whatnot, people will go.
Sure.
I would never go, but
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think, I think the second you and I landed in Saudi Arabia, we would definitely be arrested. We are on some sort of list. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to end with I don't know how to feel about this.
okay.
It's Christians doing actually good in the world.
Oh God, I hate these
So
stories.
sorry, everybody. No, this is an Australian Christian watchdog group called the Baptist World Aid Australia.
Okay.
And they issue apparently a report on ethics of the fashion world and which fashion retailers are responsible and which ones. Their scorecard sort of takes into account things like sustainability, fairness and treatment of workers, all of those sorts of things, and sort of just ethics in general.
Yeah.
And they give a scorecard to different fashion retailers, and you can sort of look it up and you can see what they do. And basically, it ranges from people are fairly compensated and everybody's doing okay to you're probably supporting slavery.
Oh my God. That's not bad.
It's not too bad. Brands that got A's are things like Converse, Patagonia, and H&M, which I'm shocked that H&M
Really?
got an A, but apparently when the Swedes do fast fashion, they do it up right.
Okay.
You know who don't? Forever 21 that got and Roxy, which both came in at a strong hard F.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
And those Forever 21ers, those are Christians too.
Oh yeah. They're super Christian.
Yeah.
To the point where they have like Christian, like they have scripture on their yellow bags and everything.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing great lately. They bit off more than they can chew. There was a whole podcast about it.
Really?
That I listened to that was
All right.
interesting.
Well,
Anyway,
so these guys are ranking the fashion world. That's really interesting.
and the thing that shocks me.
Interesting thing for them to take on.
Yes.
Right. Like I figured they went to Australia because they heard that like koalas had chlamydia or something. And they were gonna like all the koalas have chlamydia. Did you not know that?
What I was
horrible
laughing
critters.
What I was laughing at was I don't know where you're coming from with that. I couldn't see where you were
They're
going.
trying to keep them like these. They think it's because they're having sex, right?
Oh, so they're trying to keep
VD. You know,
they're trying to make sure that the koalas only mate with their spouse.
Exactly.
They want a good insular koala
Isn't that
family
why
model.
Christians go to Australia.
I think that's why. Yeah, I think it's kind of amazing. I'm glad they're doing this work, and I think that I kept waiting for the shoe to drop about like their criteria are how much do you believe in Jeebus or whatever, but that's not the criteria. The criteria are what I would say are very valid criteria about like,
actual ethical issues.
yeah,
Huh.
issues that should be taken into consideration when you are shopping, which I think is fun. So you can Google their brand finder, and you can find you can look up your favorite place and find out if you can't shop there anymore.
Yeah.
And by the way, if it's just a Chinese website like Shein, you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If it's too cheap to be true, you're supporting slavery. You're supporting child slavery. That's all it is.
But it's good to hear that your chucks aren't a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get as many as you want. All right. Well, if you would like to yell at me for ruining your fashion life, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. We got more show coming up.
Well, Frank,
Dan!
listen. for our audio segment, for our little bit from out there in the world.
I'd love to listen to that out there in the world.
Yes, we've got Lauren Witzke.
Who's that?
She's
new.
She was a Senate candidate from Delaware who didn't win. Sad to say.
Oh.
I'm very,
if
very.
we're playing her clip, my guess is
that I'm not
she's
sad.
a little bit of a loony.
You may have picked up on something just then. Well done, you. I don't know what this show is. I think this is a show called it's called No White Guilt.
Oh,
so
God!
Trigger warning.
One.
If that title isn't enough of a trigger warning, just know that these are white folk talking about white issues. But she wants to talk about who's really oppressed in the world.
Well, it's obvious.
It's obvious when you think about it. All right, here we go.
White Christian males or white straight males are the most persecuted class demographic in the United States of America right now, especially in the workforce. The anti-white system that advocates for us, like people like us, to not have a voice, to not have any rights, like kind of considering us like second-class citizens that don't deserve rights is what they kind of try to treat us as. They think that the system, the anti-white system, is going to spare them too, and it is not. This anti-white system, it's coming for all of us. People are starting to notice more and more that every commercial is trying to push some kind of degeneracy on you, something anti-white on you if you don't notice. If you haven't noticed, I mean, everybody's starting to notice. It's all part of a giant humiliation ritual. That's what it was when they took down our historical monuments. It was a humiliation ritual. Oh, your heritage, everything you're proud of, we're going to give it away and hand it over to these animals and let them take it, tear it down, vandalize it right in front of you, and we're not going to do anything about it. You know, that's what it is. It's meant to demoralize you as a person.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, Frank is sitting with a genuinely stunned look on his face.
I hadn't heard that.
What you don't realize is they sometimes say it out loud. All
Holy
the things.
Shit. Like, it's like going and it's like, okay, I expected to hear that. I expected to hear that. I expected to hear that. And then the word animals comes out. And I'm like, she's not just a racist. She is a racist.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And, you know, if it were just racism, it wouldn't be appropriate for our show.
You're right.
But guess what? Racism in this country has a religion attached to it.
White Christian men are the most oppressed.
White Christian
in the
men.
Especially in the workplace.
Especially in the workplace. She did also, she said white Christian men, and then she said white straight men. I think she assumed that was understood, that those are the same thing.
Yeah. There's an ad that plays on the PBS NewsHour. No, it's not an ad because they don't work in that model. It's an underwriter.
It is an ad. Shut up. Shut up, PBS.
Right at the beginning
these are ads.
of the show, they play an ad.
Yeah.
They play a bunch of ads all at once.
Yeah.
And one of them's for Ancestry.com. And, oh God, this thing doesn't play well to me and it really bugs me. And I don't know. Let me just explain what it is. It's a kind of a middle-aged white woman, right? On the younger end of middle-aged white woman.
Sure.
And she's standing against some backdrop. I can't remember what's behind her. And she says, though, that she wants for her children to know who they came from, right? She wants them to know. I can't remember if she uses the word heritage, because heritage is a word that, like, it gets a little weird for me when it's white people getting a little too obsessed about their own heritage
history. Gets trotted out a lot when someone starts talking shit about the Confederate flag.
Yeah, but it's all these like that you see like some historic photos and whatnot, and people coming off of boats or not boats, but like ships. Yeah, like they've come through Ellis Island or whatever. Sure, and she's talking about like the bravery, and she wants her children to know what kind of people they come from. And I'm just like, who the fuck cares who you come from?
Yeah.
right? Like I like some of my family history stories. I think some of them are really like just kind of quirky and fun, right?
Right.
And it's just kind of fun to know. But like, I don't want like, I think there's something risky or weird about the way that she's saying it. And I'm like, how is this on like the PBS fucking NewsHour?
Well,
yeah, I might be being overly sensitive, but there's something weird to it.
I'm just saying, middle-aged white lady, there's stuff that they're going to find that you're not going to like. Don't
look too hard.
Don't look too hard, man. You're going to find out about like the slave owning or the something like it's not going to be good.
Well, I mean, when you dig into family history, like you do find like it's warts and all, right? Like
And
my
it
parents,
should be, yeah.
my parents find stuff that it's just like, oh, really?
Well, and this is the danger of like worrying about your heritage, like connecting to it. You shouldn't. Don't connect to it. Learn it if you want to. Think it's cool. Think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But this is the problem. Like one of the clips that we didn't play. We chose this clip, but we could have chosen the clip that was Kat Kerr talking about how she was going to send her legion of millions of angels to help defeat critical race theory.
Right.
And their whole beef with critical race theory, when you boil it down, is just that it makes their people look bad.
Right.
And they don't want to admit that.
Well, guess what? Because you know they look bad.
You know! It's fucking, of course they look bad.
Right.
Look, our history is our history. Let's just acknowledge it. It wasn't you that did it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't you that did it, it should be fine. You should be just fine looking back and going, ooh, that was not okay.
Yeah. If you're white in this country and your family's been here for a couple hundred years,
yeah,
there's something bad.
There was some bad shit.
Something bad.
And just own it and just realize that like that's not you.
Yeah. Exactly.
But this is the problem when we try and hold to this concept of heritage.
Yeah.
Then we tie our identity with whatever's back there. Mm-hmm. And look, whatever's back there for all of y'all, anybody, it's not great. You're going to find some skeletons in that closet. It's not a good, it's all silly. It's all silly.
But boy, they're coming for your heritage.
Your heritage.
They're taking down your statues.
Yeah.
They're just ripping it all away from you. Your whole white identity.
Yeah. It's all going away. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sweetheart, your white identity ain't going nowhere. Your fucking privilege
and if
ain't going nowhere.
And if you saw this woman, she looks like she could be Ann Coulter's little sister easily. She's just got that straight blonde hair and whatever.
Right.
Yeah. You're never going to be accused of not whiteness. So you're fine. You're going to be okay. Well, we had some folks write into us.
Yeah.
I'm going to read that now. This comes from Kaya, who's writing apparently from Bumfuck, Texas.
Beautiful bumfuck.
We drove through Bumfuck when we were down there.
Multiple times.
Apparently there's a lot of places called Bumfuck. Most of Texas is Bumfuck, it turns out. Dearest Frank and Dan, the segment with Kat Kerr really cemented in my mind the opinion that pro-lifers don't actually care about babies as human beings. Frank, you'll recall that we played some audio of Kat Kerr.
Was this you get to raise your baby in heaven?
You get to raise your baby in heaven, yeah. All of the aborted and miscarried babies get to be babies in heaven at the discretion of the mama.
Oh, it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Kaya goes on to say, obviously, they don't care about the kids after they're born, but I think it goes deeper than that. I think they don't actually care about their own children. To them, babies are a tool, a plaything, a bargaining chip at best. The way Kat Kerr talked about being able to raise children in heaven really highlighted that to her, babies and children have the sole purpose of making the parent feel good. I have an almost 1-year-old and can't stand when people call her my blessing. Don't get me wrong, I love her more than life itself, but she isn't my blessing or my gift because it's not about me. This is an actual human individual that will grow into having her own thoughts, opinions, desires, etc. My fundamentalist evangelical father saw his children as nothing more than an extension of himself. I always thought it was solely due to his narcissism, but I'm starting to think his opinion of us was exacerbated by his religion. Maybe it's because I'm a new parent, so it's on my mind more, but I just can't get over parents who have children because they want either baby dolls or bragging rights. Wondering if y'all in the Mormon sphere were ever made to feel like just a present for your parents instead of an autonomous human.
Well, I know that my parents felt like they were judged based on their children
Yeah.
because they basically said as much to me when I was coming out, which was don't tell anyone in the ward.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And who was that about? It wasn't about me.
No.
It was about them.
Yeah, of course
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
But what will this mean for us, Frank?
Yeah.
You can't come out of the closet. Look at how it will make us look.
Right.
Which I think is pretty common. You know, my parents were not very fundamentalist when it came to their Mormonness, but I mean, and so I don't feel like I had too much of that, but I saw it all the time. You know, Mormons, when you get into like heavy duty Mormon culture, big families are like a big deal. That is a point of pride. If you have 9 kids, you're just Mormoning so good.
Did the other families just look at your family with just pity?
With disdain. No, I wasn't in
two children only.
My neighborhood was not like that. But we have a mutual friend who was one of 9.
Oh yeah.
And,
blessed family.
And they couldn't afford these kids.
No. Yeah.
But they kept having them because they were little like Jesus trophies. And it's not that they didn't love them, but like, come on. Why are you really having these kids?
Right.
Why haven't you stopped yet? Because, you know,
it makes them look good.
Because it's culturally and religiously, it's a big deal. And I think there is something dehumanizing about that for the children. When the kids are, I think that's a great point that Kaya brings up, that there is something dehumanizing about this, and that the religion kind of does that. It kind of encourages you to see your child as, yes, an extension of you, as a reflection of you. And that's why, you know, when people's parents say things like, we didn't raise you to be this way or whatever, it's like, how is that relevant?
Right.
I am now a grown-ass human. Right. But I've heard that so many times from people's parents. Like, I didn't raise you like this. Right. But but I'm a person.
Right.
So I have my own whole thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't raise, that is so about the parent.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly about the parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to reflect me. You're supposed to be me. What are you doing?
Or else I'm a failure.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend just the other day about his dad, his 90-something-year-old dad, calling him and saying, "Hey, you need to come back to the church of your ancestors."
Really?
It's like, again, what that does is say, you're not a valid person.
Right.
You're just a link in a long chain.
Right.
And you're not keeping up your end of the chain bargain.
The religion of your ancestors. Well,
these are your people.
Yeah.
No, I choose my people. I'm my people. And the people that I choose are my people. Yeah. Get autonomous, baby. I like it. All right. Cornelius wrote into us to say, hello, Frank and Dan. Thank you so much for your entertainingly horrifying show. You're very welcome.
All right.
Glad to horror. It's October.
Sure.
It's the time of horrors. First time emailer, but I was wondering if you had seen the article on Mother Jones as the, quote, alternative Mormon prophet Ammon Bundy. And Cornelius sends a link there. I would really like to know what you think about this guy who sounds very classical Mormon in the sense of anti-federal government. Have you heard of this Idaho Mormon all the way over in Utah, or is this a very local thing? Oh no, we've all heard of Ammon Bundy. This is the guy, for those of you who don't remember, whose dad had a standoff with the federal government.
Yeah.
Because he refused to pay grazing fees for his cattle on
federal
land.
Yeah.
And literally fended off federal agents with gunfire. And then got away with it completely.
I know, it's outrageous.
And then his family went up to Oregon and took over that federal building that was closed at the time.
Well done.
It was like a bird refuge. It was a wildlife refuge building.
Okay.
And then there was a standoff for a couple months, and then a guy got shot, and it was not great. It was not great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an awful, awful human, and he's running for governor of Idaho.
Oh, really?
Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they are sort of heroes of the anti-federal government extreme right wing. They are.
That runs deep in the West.
Well, and they fought the law and they won.
Yeah,
So
I know. It was probably a mistake.
a big mistake.
Yeah.
The feds the feds were trying to avoid another Waco type situation.
You can find another moment to arrest him, though.
Yeah.
Like, let the whole thing diffuse. You'll just look for another moment.
Right.
You'll find it.
Yeah. Or just confiscate their cattle. Do something.
Yeah.
Figure
there
out.
have to be consequences. And yeah, that one was like, well, you can't let them off the hook.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah. All right, thanks for that, Cornelius. I'm going to start us off with a new donor. Jennifer has generously given to us, and now she is a deacon. Congratulations!
It's fantastic. We
in the Church of Frank and Dan.
we also have a new deacon on Patreon.
Okay.
By the name of Jason.
Jason and Jennifer,
thank
two new
you.
recipients of the priesthood. Well done.
Oh, I know. You can do so much with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's worth everything we say it is.
And if you'd like to join them, you can go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab. It's got options. You can figure out what to do.
Yeah. Give us your money, for crying out loud.
And as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Demonium. Stick around, there's more show coming up.
Well, Frank,
Dan.
the last year plus in these United States has been a very weird time.
Difficult time.
It's been a rough one.
Not my favorite period of America.
Of American history. It's been pretty rough. We had an election that went as well as could possibly be expected in terms of result.
Yeah.
But then led to an insurrection that is
I can't believe how casually we talk about it now.
yeah.
One of the more horrifying moments of.
And of course, in the midst of all of this, one of the things that happened was that the extreme Christian right wing of our nation, they were saying such outrageously false things in the world that eventually companies like Twitter and Facebook that did not want anything to do with politics, they didn't want to be part of this,
Right.
were kind of forced really very late in the game, to be perfectly honest, to start banning very prominent figures because they were spreading such big, fat, ugly lies, including the then president of the United States, one Mr. Donald Trump. Was he president when he got banned, or was he not? Yeah. Was he?
Didn't they wait until... did they do it right in the day? No, I think they waited until he was out of office, didn't they?
Or maybe they waited until after the election or something.
No, it was after the insurrection.
Okay.
It was definitely after the insurrection.
Right.
I can't remember if they waited until he was out of office.
It was close enough.
It was in that period of time.
Anyway, lots of people started getting banned left and right.
Yeah.
And because people were getting banned even before Trump himself, there was a move from Facebook and Twitter and other sort of nonpartisan, theoretically, social media,
Right.
to right-wing partisan social media.
Right.
The first big one was Parler. Do you remember Parler?
I remember Parler.
And Parler would probably be around to this day, except that basically it became, after the election, just insurrection fomenting it was basically an insurrection incubation hive.
Right.
So after the insurrection did happen on January 6th, Parler kind of crashed. Apple and Google both took it off of their app stores,
which was just death to them.
Yeah. And when they finally they fired their CEO and they changed around a bunch of stuff, when they finally got back to the app stores, they're basically just shitty Twitter and nobody cared anymore.
Right. Oh.
But everybody was vying, but the market was still there. So up jump a whole bunch of other things. There's Gab, and there's one called Getter, which sounds a little too close to Grindr, if you ask me.
But it's for the ladies. Getter.
Getter. And
Getter. Go Getter.
Getter and Keeper. So Getter was basically it was trying to be the next, they were trying to pick up the slack where Parler left off.
Yeah.
And they had the distinct advantage of having started after the insurrection. And they thought that they would be, their big mission was to fight cancel culture, promote common sense, defend free speech, and challenge social media monopolies, which is what all of these different platforms try to do.
Right.
And basically that lasted for 15 seconds, and then it just became instantly the hashtags that were trending were the racist, homophobic, just awful hashtags just started instantly trending. It was clearly just a wretched hive of villainy.
Yeah.
And that's what they all have turned into. Basically, what they all state is that they are all about free speech, because they claim that these other places like Twitter and Facebook, are breaking their right of free speech.
Well, and clearly are just, liberal, hubs.
Right.
So clearly just
that screaming liberal
by
Zuckerberg.
liberals for liberals.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Socialist media, more like it.
More like it. Commies. Bunch of that damn commie Zuckerberg.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it literally just instantly goes wrong every time. My favorite, of course, of all of them was the one that was started by and heralded by my pillow guy. What was his name? What's his name?
Oh, I'm so glad you've forgotten his name.
I'm glad too. Anyway, Mustache McGee, who's the My Pillow guy, started frankspeech.com.
Right. Which should be my favorite, but
because it should literally everyone on it should just be allowed. They should only allow Franks.
You should have to present your birth certificate.
Right.
Prove that you're really a Frank.
Right. Francis is okay. Franklin is fine, but just Frank.
The Francises are allowed,
but not like
you got to be a Frank.
Not the girl Francises.
No, of course not.
No,
and no Franklins.
What about Frankie?
Questionable.
Iffy at best. Anyway, frankspeech.com was an instant, he had a big launch, and of course, instantly all of the servers crashed and nothing happened, and it was just a turd. On arrival.
Yeah.
Because all that My Pillow guy Mike Lindell, that's his name. Damn it. All of Mike Lindell's things just go tits up instantly.
Except for the pillows.
The pillows are doing great.
He should just stick with what he knows, which is pillows.
God. Do not buy a My Pillow. Just buy foam and cut it into cubes.
We've heard from listeners. They're really amazing.
Anyway.
But a regrettable purchase.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Anyway, I just think it's interesting. So what got me thinking about this was Gab, the platform Gab, which was started by a guy named Andrew Torba. At one point, he I don't know what the gab equivalent of a tweet is. He did a gab. He gabbed. And what he gabbed was that the servers were going to be down for a bit because he wanted to, quote, preserve a parallel Christian society on the internet for generations to come.
Oh, boy.
He said, one day our great-grandchildren will learn what really happened during the greatest spiritual war of our time and how we laid the foundations for a new parallel Christian society.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too awesome to me.
No.
It also sounds like put your fingers in your ears.
Well,
I mean, they don't want to listen to any. They don't want to listen. They hate experts. Right?
Yeah.
They hate anybody who really knows what they're talking about. Anybody who's studied anything.
Here's the truth.
Who's talking about the thing that they actually legitimately, for realsies, studied, not did their homework or research,
right.
you know, on Facebook.
Right.
Like,
YouTube is not doing your research. But yeah, and you're right. Anybody that's legitimately studied anything, including the Bible, they're just going to not want to be a part of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I think in their world, if it contradicts my worldview, even if it's fact, then how dare you?
Right.
And you know, my worldview is just as valid as yours, regardless of anything, and more valid, really, because it's mine. So therefore, it's better.
And I'm more valid than you.
I'm the validest. I'm the validest because I'm me, and I live inside of this. So
well, when you don't accept, you know, outside, like, you know, the words of experts, then that's all you do have to go on.
Yeah,
it's just your own little gut feeling and what jibes with your already, you know, narrowly conceived view of the world.
And that's it. And as many people have pointed out, what's fascinating about people who believe in an almighty being is that their almighty being magically comports with all of their own opinions. All of the things that their almighty being believes in were stuff that they happened to already agree with.
Well, clearly,
so
because they're the righteous ones who follow the right God.
Yeah, exactly. They follow the right God and the right version of the right God with the right version of the right God's writings and all of that sort of thing.
They know which verses were just kind of there to confuse people.
Right.
Like, it's not the real ones.
Their God is a little bit tricky, so ignore that one.
He likes mystery.
Yeah. Yeah. He works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And I've solved all of the mysteries. You know, I saw a meme just the other day that was, you know, when I connected the dots, I really figured out what the picture was. And then there's a picture of a connect the dots picture, and the dots are connected in all the wrong way. And it's very clearly just a blob and whatever. Because, yeah, you can connect dots. We can all do that. And you can either do it in a way that is logical, or you can do it in a way that just draws the picture that you wanted to draw from the beginning. Or, you know, yeah. So that's what's happening. I can't believe that they haven't set up a website or an app called Bubble or whatever that's just their own bubble, because that's what they're going for. Because what they ran from this whole time was people contradicting their views. And if you can't stand to be contradicted, then yeah, you need to find your bubble and go and live there.
So peaceful in the bubble.
Oh, it's nice.
It's so nice in a bubble.
It's balmy.
Oh,
it's comfortable.
That the little bit of glycerin or whatever, just everything feels
a nice layer over your whole skin.
Oh yeah.
I think it's funny because I say it's comfortable. It's not, though. These people are whipping each other up into lathers over every conspiracy theory you can think of in the world. You know, they are completely disconnected from reality. And the problem is that every step that an individual takes away from reality, away from what's actually happening in the world is a step that then further entrenches them in the world of the false reality. And we were talking earlier. You were talking. What were you saying about people who, once they've accepted one conspiracy theory?
Oh, well, yeah, like especially like about COVID and whatnot, like the vaccine in particular. Like I didn't hear the whole story on NPR, but like I sort of heard the tease for it. So, I got everything I need.
That's all you need
in the tease. But no, they were talking to somebody who went to like one of these anti-vax conferences, and they were talking about how the participants, it's as though they're compelled to believe all of the conspiracy theories in the room, because if they draw into question one of them, right? Like then they kind of have to draw into question all of them.
Right.
And they're not there to do that. And so they have to like hold like 50 bizarro things in their head that oftentimes are, contradicting each other.
Completely conflict with each other.
And
you just keep them all.
They just do it. And they just keep them all in their head in the worst, case of cognitive dissonance you could imagine.
Well, I mean, one of the we didn't end up playing it, but one of the audio things that we were considering playing was Rick Wiles, who has throughout the pandemic said just a series of different things. Yeah. They were all wrong,
right?
But different ways that, the virus is fake. Oh no, the virus is real. He got the virus. Oh well, but the vaccine is fake, or it's bad, or it's whatever, and it's bad for this reason, and it's bad for that reason, and it's microchips. And then this latest one, it's bad because it plants an egg. An egg, that's his word.
Yeah.
In you, which then hatches into a synthetic parasite.
Yeah.
That then dot.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it's supposed to do.
At
that point, who cares what it's supposed to do?
He didn't say what it's supposed to do. It's enough to just scare you by saying there's a parasite.
Yeah, he probably just watched that Alien or something, right?
Exactly.
And he's just like, I bet this is a whole metaphor for the vaccine, isn't it?
But he doesn't bother going back and saying, thing X that I just contradicted that I said a month and a half ago is wrong.
And I'm moving on.
And I'm moving on to the new thing.
No, of course not.
All the things are right.
Oh, yeah.
If you
brought up the old thing, he would sit there and defend it.
That's true. But then you said this.
Yeah.
That's also true.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you are a super masochist, you can start up a Gab or a Parler or whatever, any of these. You can start up an account and just watch the good times roll.
I wouldn't even want to be associated with it.
No.
I wouldn't want the internet to know that I'd been there.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to do some serious, duck going with that.
Let me tell you something. Whatever the internet thinks I'm all about, having done this show for 10 years, it's not good. I'm already ruined.
Yeah,
so I'm burnt.
Fair.
It's okay. I can do it. Anyway, listen, if you have a family member that's super into Gab and you want to talk to us about it, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Hey, don't forget that on November 13th, we're going to have our TGIA meetup. This is just a quick reminder that that's going to be happening. And we're excited so anyone who can make it, to
put it on your calendar.
Salt Lake City.
Email us.
Tell us
you want to join us.
We've had a couple people write in, say that they might be trekking out from distant lands, as far away as Florida.
Wow.
But come from as far away as you can. I don't know. Impress us. Anyway, that's still on the agenda. I just wanted to give it a quick mention. Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their beautiful music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks so much to all of you for tuning in. We love it.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.